To kill or not to kill? This is the question. Should the staff shoot the Cincinnati Zoo gorilla? To me, it is very obvious. Yes, he should. The reason is simple. We are all human. The logic of life is to survive and medication. Self-preservation is a sensible survival strategy for us. If we have to choose between a person and an animal, we must choose the person. Imagine if the kid was yours or it was yourself. Would you rather kill the gorilla and be 100% safe or let the gorilla to make the decision to spare you or your kid's life? What if you had a gun and fell into the mud and the gorilla did the same thing to you? Are you going to wait for the gorilla to spare your life or would you rather shoot the gorilla? I personally would rather shoot the gorilla because I don't want any uncertainty on my safety. Certain people argue for the preservation of the gorilla based on the fact that they are endangered species. What if it was a stray dog? I personally don't even think about it, but just kill the stray dog. But yes, gorilla is an endangered animal. What if it was a white Siberian tiger? Still, I would rather choose to kill tiger because human is more important than other animals in the case of life and death. Under the principle of self-preservation, we value the life of a human more than animals. What if it was a man? A man you cannot talk to or to reason. The man is so strong and you know he could crush a coconut. Would you rather have a man who do whatever or shoot the man? Now the decision is not as easy. I would rather observe if the man was being aggressive or not. If the man was aggressive to the kid, I believe killing the man is a rational choice. What if the man was dragging the kid around and sometimes it looks like he's protecting the kid, but sometimes he's being a threat to the kid? This will be a very difficult situation. But I would rather kill the man because you don't know what possible harm he could do. And he showed a sign of aggressiveness. Even it was human, I personally would rather choose to take down the man. Some people argue that the gorilla should not be killed because it is the responsibility of the kid, the mom, or the zoo. Who should bear the responsibility of the incident has nothing to do with whether the gorilla should be killed or not. If the kid is there, and the reason I discussed above taken, and the decision should be made accordingly. Alright, so what about the responsibility? Should the mom be responsible? Many people believe that the mom is responsible for that. The argument was she is the mom and she is accountable for the action of his kid. Based on the fact that she is an adult and she is capable of being accountable. Also, her kid told her he wants to get in and she should put extra attention to him. Certainly, it is a very sensible argument, but I would argue we have to consider the mom always face this kind of nonsense statement from kids. It's not uncommon for kids to say, I want this and I want that, which is entirely impossible. If the mom didn't believe the kid meant it, I don't think she should take the full responsibility. This is a misjudgment and we should call it an accident. It is impossible for her to know what her son is going to do to climb the barrier and to prevent him from climbing it. So even if she was taking photo or taking care of objects and then this very kid to cry. She should not take full responsibility. Imagine this scenario. She took all of the words and stuff from her kid seriously, and because of that, she was so afraid of her kids making trouble outside of her sight. She kept all of her kids in home and did not allow them to go out. Would it be good? Would you rather think she's paranoid instead of being careful on the kids? What about the zoo? First of all, the establishment of the zoo is in the zoo. The logic is, if there is no zoo, there will be no such an incident to begin with. However, as the zoo is already there, and I believe it is better to discuss this later. Now there is a zoo, and is the very good enough to prevent people from getting in? I would rather say yes. I tried to Google search if there was any incident happened before this one in Cincinnati that very soon, but I failed to find any. It means that it is generally safe unless a specific person intentionally wanted to get over the barrier. If someone intentionally wants to get across the barrier, that is not something the zoo could do. If a grown adult wants to do that, even there are the fans and the mold and everything, he could, unless it is a prison. But even if it was a prison, there is loophole in the prison and the perfect design is impossible. What about the kid? The kid intentionally should get in, and he did it at his own will. However, kids are not legally responsible for his own actions. Besides, he didn't know the gorilla would be served if he broke in the enclosure. He didn't understand the consequence, and he or the gorilla would be in danger once he broke in. He's 3 years old and he's unable to make such a judgment. Therefore, he is the cause of the incident, but he's not able to take the responsibility. So, no one is fully responsible. I think that's the proper answer. This is one of the reasons why it makes so many people angry, because the gorilla is dead and no one should take full responsibility on the fact. And that's why people try to point the finger to the mom of the zoo. Anyways, should there be justice for a gorilla? This is not animal abuse. It's necessary for to take care of the animal. After all, if you could talk or to reason with the animal, do we have to kill it? Animals will enjoy the same rights as us. It's just how we define it, whether you like it or not. This is philosophy. The only thing I can promise you is a dystopia.